So we got.
I know you do. I know you do.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to change my view to speaker view so that it goes there. If you're only seeing yourself, that is because I haven't started. Why is this? I keep getting pop-ups. I'm of like, I don't know how to silence all my notifications. Community, currency, February 2022, go, live. Whoop. All right. Okie dokie. Cindy Rose is joining us. Awesome. So, okay, I want you guys to know, yesterday after the event, I was sitting at my table doing my Feng Shui vision board, finishing it, trying to get it all set so that I could show off what it looks like this year. I tried really hard to stick with the color themes and all that. And what's really fascinating to me is I shifted my my energy around the wealth and prosperity section of the thing. And I'm telling you this because this is my wealth. Oh, can you guys see this? Okay. This is my wealth and prosperity section, like right in here. Okay. This is fame and recognition or something like that. Can you see it? Okay. Okay. So I used to have, you know, like rolls of dollar bills, all the money. And if you notice, it's all about the vibration. I'm so excited. This is going to be a killer year. In a good way. In a good way. Anyway, so I felt really, really great about that. It was a shift in mindset. It was a shift in how it's showing up for me, wealth and prosperity, that is. And so, yeah, super exciting. Okay, are you guys excited? Are you guys ready to get this incredible day ahead of us started? Who's ready? Just me? No. I'm teasing. Okay, so out here on Facebook, let me see. I'm just gonna scroll to make sure that we're coming in live, that this is showing up great. Kaspars is out there on Facebook. Can't wait to see the recording today. It's cool. Kaspars, you're gonna absolutely love the vision board class because I see that you have vision boards on your on the backdrop of you, and I don't know if you can see exactly what it looks like there, but it's like a work of art. I mean, I look at it and I'm like, oh, I love that. It feels really, really good to me. What's interesting is that other people had said that it looks too busy. It's a little bit overwhelming to me. And I'm like, great. So don't put as many pictures on yours. For me, it feels really, really good when I look at it. It feels really exciting. It feels really inspiring. But if it's overwhelming, obviously yours isn't going to look that way. And that's good. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not teaching how it's supposed to look. I'm teaching where to put the pictures in order to create that energy manifestation like that. So if you haven't watched the recording, I welcome you to do so. I do apologize. My computer did not buffer or download the recordings yesterday in the speed at which I wanted it to. So those recordings are not yet in the Dropbox folder, but all of you, speakers and attendees alike, should have, if you are registered through the Zoom room, you should have access to that folder. So if you don't have access to that folder, definitely let me know. And day one recordings are all in there, and day one was pretty dang powerful. So hopefully you have time to go see day one, and day two should be in there today, and day three will be in there. Today is day three, but day three will be in there hopefully by tonight, but if my computer is slow again, then at least by tomorrow. So, all right. I think that's all is that, Cheryl, is that all the kind of admin type stuff?
I think that's all the housekeeping. Absolutely.
Okay, that's the word. Yeah, I don't like that word.
Many don't.
That's one of my ultimate goals in life, is to get my husband to agree that having a housekeeper is an okay thing. He has. Oh, did you hear him? He said, we have one. She's just asleep right now.
There you go. Good. Yes, the teenager.
No, thank you. My teenager is not the kind of housekeeper I want. But anyway, it's all good. Okay, so let's get started on relationship resilience. And Cheryl is going to be lovely enough to introduce me. So thank you.
You know, there are just times where it's a benefit to have a little bit of power. And this happens to be one of those times. I don't think Jamie really honestly needs a benefit. I don't think Jamie needs what's the word? What am I doing to
Introduction.
You? Introduction to most of us. As she's a strong community member, a strong community player. And I can't even tell you how impactful she is in my personal world. I've alluded to her being a pillar a couple of times, and I stand by that, in being someone that I can constantly either circle around, come back to, grab onto for a little bit of hope and strength, walk away from, knowing that she's still got that pillar height so she can still see what I'm doing. And so she is absolutely someone that I am grateful that linked arms. I think we met 12, 13, 14 years ago. Believe it or not, I have let her see my naked toes. We went on a journey, came back. And now today, this is where we're at. And so I'm honored to be part of her world and part of everybody's world. And I know that she stands true to that as well, that we're in it together. And so I am honored and looking forward to sitting back for the next couple hours and learning more about Jamie and hearing her presentation.
Yay! Thank you. Thank you so much. This chair is not comfortable today. I've been sitting in it for way too many days in a row is probably how I'm viewing that. Let me see if I can go to my speaker view so that thank you very much. I appreciate it. I am honored really to be presenting any of the things that I presented this weekend to you guys. These are things that are very important to me. Sharing this information and looking, hold on, I'm looking for, where the heck is that? Okay, so I'm kind of blown away by the way that this weekend, the retreat has gone by. Each time that I do these retreats, it's like it comes together magically. Even the things that are a challenge and that we come up against resistance around everything. We come up against, pivots in we'll go down the road, we're coming, it's going nice and smooth. And then all of a sudden we're like, wait, what just happened? Right. And it's been such a blessing to have Cheryl on my team, to have the support that I need in place in order to make the changes necessary to provide the valuable content that we're providing for you guys this weekend. So I hope that you enjoy it. Definitely let us know, leave us testimonials, give us reviews, tell us your opinion, because people just coming to this or just finding out about soul heart collaboration retreats don't know. They don't know what they're going to experience. And you guys who have been here and who have experienced it can give them a little bit of a glimpse into what it feels like and how it shows up in the world. So please do that, because that is very powerful for the world around you. And that's the point. Let me go back if it will let me go back. There it is. Okay. That's the point of why I put these retreats together, and to affect change in the world, to reach the masses, to help people with how they're showing up in the world so that they can feel better and their whole life can feel better. So that's what this is all about for me. And I truly hope that that's what you end up walking away with. All kinds of great tips and tidbits of information that you can either choose to follow or choose not to follow. The one thing that I challenge you to do is to take one thing, and only one thing. Kind of going back to what Kaspars said on the first day in the first presentation. Take one step, then take another step, right? You don't go running at change because it ends up tripping you up, right? You take one lesson and implement it, put it into action. Take another lesson and then put it into action. So if you're taking notes this weekend, I welcome you to look through those notes, write kind of like a summary of all the things that you've learned, and then really truly look at it as one piece of action at a time. It can be overwhelming hearing all of these great ideas and wanting to implement it all right away, but I can guarantee you that's a recipe for disaster. So you don't want to do that. You want to just take it one little bit at a time. And this presentation on relationship resilience is going to help you see what it is that I mean by that. So I titled it Relationship Resilience, Pulling Back the Veil to Create a Magical Life, because I feel like that's what's happened to me. So I'm excited to share it with you guys if my computer will work. All right, here it is. Yay. Oh my gosh, I'm just struggling with this thing, aren't I? Oh, holy cow. Seriously, what the heck? All right, universe, I need you to be on my side and supporting me. I'm challenged up enough this weekend. Thank you very much. All right. Cool beans. Okay, so there it is. There it is. Yay. One slide at a time. Okay. So when it comes to relationship resilience, I feel like I am the ultimate expert in this. I'm no stranger to change. I have relocated our entire family, which means our household and animals and plants and everything, to 8 different states. You guys, 8 different states, you know, I don't know about you, but when we have a tendency to live in more than one place in the same state. So when I added up all of the times that I've moved, holy cow, it's double digits. It's insane. Close to 20, I think it was 19 times that we've moved. And I'm not talking about like moving right down the street. I'm talking about like you have to rent well, the last time we moved to and from Alabama, it took an 18-wheeler to move us. So just so that you can imagine what that looks like in my world. In work, I've worked in corporate America for more than 30 years. I started my career working at the age of 15. My dad was a lawyer, and so every chance that he had to bring me on board to teach me work ethic, he did. So I ran switchboards for 30 plus lawyers. I ran, anyway, I won't get into all that. But suffice it to say, thank God I'm not in corporate America anymore. But we'll get to that. Friends, with every move, it's interesting how I've had to completely reestablish friendships. And I don't know about you guys, but friendships are challenging enough when we are in the same place in the same time, and moving just makes it so hard. So really be sensitive. I welcome you anyway to be sensitive when you hear that somebody is moving, because it is emotionally challenging to make a change that big in your life. And then it's kind of scary to come up on that, like, well, who am I going to turn to? Well, who's going to be my business people? Who's going to be my support system? Who's going to be there for me emotionally? Who's going to get coffee with me? Those kind of things that we kind of take for granted when we're in the same place for any length of time. Just keep in mind that it is challenging for us, right? So in my last 5 years in corporate America, I don't know that many of you know this, but it almost killed me. I was in and out of the hospital. I was so sick. I was not myself. I truly did not think I was going to make it physically. This body was not handling anything that was going on in that environment very well. So when you see the giggling, happy, goofy Jamie that you see on the videos on social media, it is definitely not the same Jamie that was going through this. I knew that I needed to get out of the environment that I was in, and I didn't know what that looked like, and we weren't necessarily ready to move yet. And so I just continued to struggle and continued to experience all kinds of crazy things after several critical symptoms. And when I say critical, I mean like I dropped down to the floor and almost couldn't move. I felt like I was having a heart attack one time. Like it was just so awful. Migraines, IBS, all kinds of stomach issues, weight gain. And I know that those of you in the metaphysical world are going like, I know what all those things mean. And you're right. But I had severe anxiety, heart palpitations. I dreaded going into the office. It was so hard for me. A severe depression, overly emotional. And in general, if you can even imagine it, Miss Bubbly, like everything is, the glass is half full, had this really shitty attitude about life. So excuse I'm a cursor. So if you're not a cursor, I do apologize ahead of time for my potty mouth. I feel like one of my guides is a sailor or something. I don't know. Maybe that's just my excuse. Anyway, we ran all kinds of tests. I visited countless numbers of doctors, ER visits. I had 6 ER visits, primary care physicians in 12 different specialties. So each of those was hard. Was tested for allergies, they tested my heart, they did stress tests, they did CTs, I think they did one MRI, like really expensive equipment stuff, and nobody could find anything. Nobody could find anything. I hired personal trainers, I joined a gym, I ran nutrition panels, I tried to shift eating habits to see if that would help. Nothing was helping. It was so... I know that a lot of you can relate to this because you too have gone through, and we'll get to the energetic and DNA shifting that was happening in my body at the time, but boy, does it suck to be in that place. Boy, does it suck. Just to get into a little bit of the definitions, or at least how I see them, I'm talking about, I'm looking at, hold on, I just want to make sure that Laura gets in, Lisa gets into the room, whoever that was. Thank you. What do I mean by pulling back the veil? I tried to find images of little girls because it was really the wounded little baby inside of me that was not getting taken care of. She was not being allowed to play. Okay, so if you haven't seen Erin's presentation on playful behavior, you have to. It was so much fun, so much fun. So ever since then, I've been singing everything. And I woke up this, actually at the table last night. I think I started to tell you this and got off on a tangent. Welcome to my presentation. That's just how I am. I was sitting there singing a song that was so much fun to me. It was just silly, and I can't remember it right now, but it will come to me eventually. So anyway, it was this fun experience because of this energy shift that Erin helped us do on Saturday. It was Friday. It was the last presentation on Friday. So thank you, Erin, very, very much. Life is like a book. Some chapters are sad, some are happy, and some are exciting. But if you never turn the page, you'll never know what the next chapter holds. And I feel like that's so true when it comes to our emotions and how our emotions show up in the world. It can be really hard to see. I'm just reading the comments. We have a monthly housekeeper. Best thing ever. I know, Susie, I know. If only my husband trusted that. But that's a conversation for another time. We'll get into that later. No problem. Hopefully, my presentation will shift. I'm pressing this button and it's not working. Oh, there it goes. Magical. Right. So we can't get stuck in the challenge. We must turn the page and read the next chapter. So faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. Martin Luther King Jr. said that. And holy cow, that's so true. It's almost like you're walking on this invisible staircase and trying to experience life in a way that's magical and blissful and joyful. And you have to take the next step, but you can't see it. You don't know where the staircase is. You don't know how high you need to lift your foot. You don't know, you don't know whether the stair is even going to be there at all, whether you're going to fall flat on your face, whether you're going to slide down the stairs and have to start over from another place. And I know that all of you can relate to this because everybody, it does not matter who you are. It does not matter where you grew up. It does not matter what struggles you're going through. Every single person on the face of this earth has their own challenges and struggles that they're facing every single day. I think we can all agree on that. So here's what I learned from it all. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about who I am and why what I say might matter to you. I don't know, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. It's okay if it doesn't. Let me look at this chat really quickly. Make sure that I'm not missing anything. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna let Cheryl jump on here verbally if there's anything in the chat that
I got you.
Thank you. Okay. So I am a wife of actually 21 plus years. We've not been married that long, but we've been together that long. And even longer. Our story is so freaking cute. You guys will love it. A mama to a teen girl, which is a challenge in and of itself. I know you guys all know that, but she's absolutely amazing and inspires me every single day. An international business owner for over 16 years. It's very obvious to me that I missed some of these things to change on this presentation, but that's okay. And I have more than 25 certifications, okay? And then, you know, I listed some of them just because it's fun to look at some of these things that I've done. I have been a belly dancer. I have done construction contracting, construction estimator, emotional freedom technique, executive management, life transformation coach, master toe reader, which is what Cheryl was alluding to earlier when she said that she's seen my toes. That's what I started doing in, let's see, 2005? I think it was 2005 that I started learning toe reading. And it's so much fun, you guys. Neurolinguistic program, numerologist, procurement specialist, reflexologist, and the closed captioning is over, whatever the last one is. So it's all good. Okay, I'm gonna say it's all good a lot of times because that's what I say when things are not quite going my way, because I like the energy of it. It feels good. It reminds me that it's all good. Whatever it is, it's all good. All right. So I use 3 certifications in my coaching practice. Emotional freedom technique and toe reading are 2 of the tools that I use to get at those deep-seated belief systems that we have buried. So we don't always know exactly what they look like. But let me tell you something, what your deep-seated beliefs are, if you don't know them, your toes tell a toe reader what's there and what we need to work on. And I say we because, listen, I don't have perfect toes. My toes tell me all the time that I need to stop procrastinating, that I need to get out there and do it, right? I'm formally educated, have a master's degree in art education, which means I can teach theory, Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, which means I can create stuff, Exhibit A, Associate of Arts in biopsychology. Initially, I was a pre-medical student for for being a psychiatrist. That means that I know a little bit about brain chemistry. It was super fun. Lots of drama in my life happened, and so I got sidetracked from that medical degree. But I found art, and that was a medium that I had kind of put aside for a long time. So I was very, very happy to pursue that instead. All right, so I'm a founder and co-founder of 3 international businesses, Jamie Allen Bishop, Life Purpose Coach, Soul Heart Entertainment, which is toe reader talent for your private parties and events, and Soul Heart Collaboration, which is about these retreats that you're at right now. So in a different presentation that I give on something kind of similar to this, I separate these slides out. But in this presentation, I'm going to go through them really, really slowly. So forgive me if these slides are on the page for a really long time. I'm kind of a storyteller, if you don't know that about me already. And each of these things has a pretty intense story that goes along with it. So here's what I learned about relationship resilience and living a magical life. There are 5 areas of balance to practice: emotional, personal, physical, professional, and spiritual. So we're going to talk a little bit about what each of those mean and why I know about why we need to hone these skills. In the emotional realm, I have lost that number is actually up to 37 family and friends to addiction and suicide and disease. The intensity of death is really hard for us living humans. We don't understand it. It's something that's really scary to us, partly because we don't know what to expect from it. It's something that involves change, and the human brain is not wired to accept change easily. So I giggle because I'm just as vulnerable to these things that I teach, right? I teach how to be resilient and how to get through change and how to manage your emotions when it comes to that. But holy cow, it's just as hard for me sometimes too, you guys. So don't think there's any kind of holier than thou thing going on. And the other thing that I wanted to share about this is that I'm not sharing these things with you to teach to the wound. I'm sharing them with you so that you can see that I've been through some of the things that you probably have been through too. And still, I show up as this bubbly, fun, giggly person most of the time, which I love. I mean, that's part of what I love about life, is the playful, fun, exciting experience about it. And I find excitement in everything that I come across. And part of it is because of these experiences, even when they're difficult. So on the personal front, I have overcome infidelity, divorce, death. I myself died when I was 7 years old. I had a septic appendix, and I don't know if you guys know what the appendix is, but it's this tiny little, it's a sac. It's not an organ, it's a little sac. If you can imagine like a coin purse, right? This little sac is off of the end of your intestines, and it captures any of the toxins or poisons that your body can't process. And so when I say my appendix went septic, that means that it basically dissolved. So the little pouch holding all of those toxins turned to mush. And guess what happens? It released all the toxins into my body. So my little 7-year-old body I think I was 85 pounds, which is fairly standard. I'm pretty muscular. So it's fairly standard to be about 85 pounds. When I went into the hospital, 1 month later, when I left the hospital, I weighed 30 pounds. So I kid you not, skin and bones. While in the hospital, my body was fighting for its life. I did not feel that, just from the perspective of that out-of-body experience, that near-death experience. I witnessed my body feeling it, which was very fascinating. Sunny told that story on Friday as well. I keep wanting to say Monday because it was like the beginning of our week this weekend. But yeah, so Friday, Sunny told her out-of-body experience story as well. And it was fascinating to me because in that experience, I didn't feel anything. So those of you who have loved ones who are struggling and you're hearing moans and you're experiencing the things that are really hard for us who are living to witness, to bear witness to, just know that they're not feeling it. That is their body's physical reaction. It's an anatomic situation happening there. Or at least that's what I experienced. Obviously, I can't talk for everybody, but what I experienced was me, my soul above the bed, kind of like Sunny described, like at the lights, above the whole experience. Like, I don't even think it was at the lights. It was almost as if the building didn't even exist. It was just above, if you can imagine. So my soul was above. I witnessed this little girl in bed, wires, I mean, all of the IVs attached, all the challenges that brings. And then my mom, who was, my mom is only 19 years older than me, you guys. So she's really young. She was extremely young at the time. That means that she was only 26 years old when I was going through this. And she was in nursing school. She was trying really hard to make sure that she was able to provide for her family. She was married. So thankfully she had a financial support system in place, but she almost failed out of her. I mean, can you imagine having a child on death's door? Oh my God, my poor mom. Anyway, so I could see her body, just sitting at my bedside, like trying desperately to get my little body to feel healthy and better. And I, much like Sunny said, like, she's the reason I stayed. So I remember, Sunny says she doesn't remember anything from that experience. I remember something from that experience. I remember sitting in my place. I don't know if you guys have ever done visualizations, but if you've done any kind of guided visualizations, they tell you to go to your happy place, right? In that experience, I go to the place that I was in that moment where I was out of body. And I say that moment because time doesn't exist there. It might as well have been 10 years that I was out there hanging out, playing with all the other kids. We were in a field surrounded by forest animals and lakes and just beautiful things, you know, no bugs. Like the one thing that I hate about nature are the bugs. And I don't hate bugs. I shouldn't say that, but you know, it's not my favorite part of nature. I definitely enjoy the beauty of it. I enjoy being in it. And the bugs have a tendency to bug me. Anyway, so in that moment, I was with Jesus. I was with the entity that I knew at the time to feel like an authoritarian figure and guide who could bring me to a place of peace, right? So Jesus and I were hanging out, we were having a conversation, and he asked me if I wanted to go play with the other kids. And I was really tempted to go play with the other kids. And I looked up at him and I looked down at my mom on the, you know, crying hysterically, talking to doctors. Nobody knew what to do. Nobody knew. This was 1970 something as I age myself. Anyway, it was very interesting place to be because my soul was very wise. It was very grounded. I didn't feel like it was a bad thing. Either choice was the right choice. Like I didn't feel conflicted in the choice. It was just a choice. And it was a really peaceful experience for me. So I was in this room, or not this room, I was in this, you know, meadow, hanging out with Jesus, watching the kids play, tempted to go play with them. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to stay with my mom. And I remember it being a choice to be here. I remember, and that is something that I have carried with my heart, or very, very, very close to my heart for my whole life. Because as you've probably already read, my animations didn't work to bring these in one at a time, but that's okay, right? There's that phrase again. All right, so let's move on to the physical. As you can see, I've been through some shit. Physical. I faced my own health challenges, as I mentioned before, but obviously that was not the first health challenges I had. I obviously had this near-death experience when I was 7. When I was 9, I ended up with a spiral fracture all the way past my, you know, from my shin bone all the way past my knee. It even went in, or rather it affected, it didn't actually go into my femur, my thigh bone, but it did affect whether my thigh bone could work properly or not. So I had a year as an 8-year-old, I think, or no, as a 9-year-old sitting in bed. Oh my God, you guys. Can you imagine asking your 9-year-old to sit in bed? And, you know, remember, this was back in the 70s, so we didn't have video games. I don't think video games existed yet. We had workbooks. Workbooks. Do you remember workbooks? Holy cow, I can't begin to tell you how many workbooks I did, but I literally couldn't move. I was, you know, I think of movies when I think of examples to share, and I can't think of which movie it is, but you can imagine this cast, this person in a cast, and the cast being like lifted up by chains. And that's what I had a hospital bed in our, good Lord, the things that I have put my mother through. Anyway, so yeah, so health challenges have always followed me. There were others, but we won't get too far into those details. And then, of course, I've walked through these, or not exactly the same, but similar health challenges with family and friends. Not the least of which is cancer. I've walked through cancer with at least 12 people. And these are 12 people who are close to me, or who I felt close to. And I use the past tense, not because I completely believe that, just so you know. I very much believe they are right here with me now. Souls are souls. I'm talking about the human body that those souls inhabited in that moment. Those human bodies are no longer with us. So it shifts our experience, right? It makes us face life. And life is not so pretty sometimes. On the professional level, oh my God, you guys, holy cow. My husband and my daughter could tell you what I went through some of my work experiences and being bullied there. In the construction industry, not exactly welcoming to women. Let me just say that. But I think that that's true of almost any industry, right? We're shifting that, ladies. So let's keep up the good work there. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep you standing up to your bullies. So I'm not one to allow myself to be bullied. So of course that created this very toxic work environment where I was in a constant battle, literally, for my voice to be heard, for my talent to be recognized. I can't tell you the number of times that my ideas were stolen and presented as somebody else's own, et cetera, et cetera. So it was not an easy time for me, no doubt about it. So it's no wonder my body started showing up with all of these physical manifestations of how I was feeling inside. I was feeling like I had toxic exposure, which, by the way, they found out I did. Of course, they wouldn't admit it, but that's a whole nother story. I'm smiling through this whole thing because I cannot believe that I have survived all these things, you guys. I cannot believe it. Every single time I give this presentation, I'm like, whoa.
So just so you know, Jamie, to interrupt so far, first of all, Erin's grateful that you chose to stay and come back. But Zaid is commenting on your inspiring journey. But Susie has shared that she worked in the construction industry as well. And she has a take no shit attitude, but she openly admits that it also gets her into trouble. And so Katja has shared that she can relate to the toxic exposure in the construction world as well. It made her uncomfortable until she decided to speak up and address it. Still not sitting well with her though.
Yeah, no, it's, it's very much a healing journey that I'm still on, to be honest with you. So I definitely relate to that. By toxic exposure, I'm not talking about the bullying. I'm not talking about the toxic work environment. I'm talking about literal toxic exposure. We were on site at a coal mine, an above ground coal mine. So have you ever seen those where, I mean, they dig the earth and move the earth to get to whatever resource it is that they need. And right next to and part of the reason why there's such resistance around coal being a viable source of fuel is that right next to the vein of coal is always a vein of arsenic. Okay, so this company that I worked for was very, very environmentally conscious. They were extremely careful about what they were doing. Soil samples and water samples were constantly being tested. They would take runoff and recycle it, meaning that they would refine it. They would take out the toxins. They would they sell it, believe it or not. They take out all of the different things, the minerals, the metals, the toxins, all of that kind of good stuff. So the truth is that they were doing everything that they could to make it as safe as is humanly possible. And yet I still had toxic exposure. The airborne whatever We were at a, you know, much like most construction sites, you have some sort of trailer that the administrative staff works out of. It helps to get the people who are on the site construction wise, it helps them to get their invoices in, it helps them to get paid. You know, you can, you know, manage difficulties and challenges that come up on site by being on site, right? If you're in a, you know, if you're in a corporate tower, even just a mile away, the chances of a construction worker coming to get you because something happened is really, really small. They try to manage it themselves. But if you're right there, they can come get you and then you can help them manage it, right? So I was on site, I was in a trailer, and whatever it was that was being kicked up by the digging, because we were starting a new site, my body was not handling it well. I think, and the doctor that I was able to get to really truly help me was a pulmonologist. We think that I was being exposed to some sort of airborne arsenic. So it literally was killing me. We don't know because they, you know, while they tested, you know, they're not going to admit it, right? And that's okay. I'm not resentful of that. At the time, it was really hard. At the time, it was like, you guys, come on. And if you don't know Bagheera, this is Bagheera. She joins me every so often. She feels like, I feel like she's my emotional support cat. She comes and helps me when I'm struggling emotionally. So she must be feeling all of these feels that I'm putting out into the world. But anyway, that's the story of my construction experience. And then spiritually, I feel the most blessed in my spiritual experience because just gonna make sure that my mama, that's my mama, you guys. Hi, mama. My spiritual experience has been the thing that has got me through it all. Establishing support systems all over the world has been my saving grace, no doubt about it, without a doubt in my mind. So knowing all of these things that I have survived, you know, a lot of people ask me how the heck I can still be happy. And that's what I'm gonna share with you, if I can get it to change. So the fastest way to your dream life and to having a mindset is having a mindset of resilience. But beyond resilience, it's actually having a mindset of triumph, of feeling powerful, of feeling good about every single thing you come up against. Okay, I'm going to go back to this slide because I just want you to soak it in. Most people wouldn't be able to survive most of this emotionally, probably physically. That's a lot of stuff to survive, right? I would not be here if I had a weak mindset, if I had a mindset of failure, if I had a mindset that wasn't resilient. And I think that resilience is lacking in our society right now. I feel like it's not being taught the way that it needs to be taught, because every single person on the face of this earth is surviving something. But let's get to a place where we're all thriving. How does that sound? Life is a struggle without gratitude and a willingness to receive all that is good. So I want you guys to do me a favor. Gary, you want to do it with me? I don't think she does. Take a deep breath, put your hands over your heart, If you can, put both of your feet firmly on the ground where you feel really comfortable. Shift your chair if you need to. Take a couple of nice deep breaths, deep grounding breaths, just deep breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. One, if you can, if you feel comfortable, if you're in a place where you can do this and it doesn't feel too awkward, it's okay if it feels a little awkward. When you take a deep breath, I want you to let it out with noise. Make noise when it comes out. All right, and the third deep breath, I want you to say Om. Okay, with me? All right, deep breath. I don't know if that came through. I don't know if the sound comes through that way, but oh my God. Oh my God. So then hold your arms out to the side, wide open, as wide as you can get them. I just recovered from a frozen shoulder, so this feels extraordinarily good to me. And open your hands and say, if you can, at the top of your lungs, I am open and willing to receive all that is good. I love that. My daughter teases me because I make like little squeaky, squealy noises all the time. Oh, wow. How did that feel for you guys? Tell me in the comments. If you participated, how did that feel? I feel more open, Kellie says. Susie says, I loved it. Gavin says, very refreshing. Anybody over here on the Zoom room? I mean, on Facebook, we're in the Zoom room. I felt the Om vibrate through my entire body. Kellie, or Katja, awesome. Absolutely awesome. Chris, my mom, nice. Yay. Okay, good. So I want you to just soak that feeling up. Feel the feels. That seems to be our theme this weekend. Feel the feels. Feel how it feels in your body, even several minutes after we've done it, right? If you don't know this already, Om is the vibration of God. It is the highest vibration that you can experience as a human, to the best of my knowledge. I'm not knowledgeable in this. This is not my forte, but let me tell you something. It works wonders for me all the time, all the time. Ask my husband. He knows when I'm like, he knows he needs to back off. Okay, so we'll start with emotional balance. I'm gonna go through a few slides, and with these few slides, I'm going to just read some quotes because I'm a quote junkie, and express to you how I have put things into practice to help myself stay resilient. And then beyond resilience, it really creates a thriving environment because our mindset is shifted to that place of thriving, right? Mindset, so important. Kaspars talked about it. Kellie talked about it. Erin talked about it. Sunny talked about it. Jean talked about it, right? The leadership mindset. I mean, we've all talked about it this weekend. It's such an important thing. So practice emotional neutrality with things that trouble you. Okay, so what happens when you walk into the room? Let's say you're walking into a small gathering I don't know about you guys, but if you're an empath, which I think most of us are on some level in some way, whether we know it or not, we can feel the person that we like the best, and we can feel the person that we dislike the most in that small gathering, right? Instantly, when you become really aware of it, start to practice it, start to notice it in your lives. I welcome you to start feeling that in your body, because when you start feeling it in your body, you'll know where it's coming from, because all of these body parts that we can feel in, that we have emotional connection to, we feel it in our body. That's why people say we feel it in our body. I feel it in my gut. I have a gut instinct, right? That's our intuition. That's our highest intuition. I feel like you should almost always trust that. It's important to question it, because we have to question. That's why we're humans. That's why we're here. We're seekers. We're wanting to learn. But if we really sit in the resonance of our intuition, boy, is it a powerful navigator for us. All right, so the secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Socrates, Plato. I mean, like I think that if I were to go back in time, if I were to live in any time, I would be just fascinated to be at the philosopher's table, to be a knight of the round table, or at the philosopher's table, just having conversations with them. And guess what, you guys? You get to be there for this time period on actually today, later today at 1 p.m. You get to have access to all of the speakers at this retreat. And it will be, I promise you, it will be like sitting at the philosopher's table. So wish fulfilled already. Thank you very much, universe. The best words to end a confrontation. Every single time, I can't tell you how valuable this has been to me, is let's agree to disagree. And then let go of being right. I think that's the key point of it. It's okay to, agree to disagree, but then you got to let it go. Otherwise it will eat you up, and it will haunt you, and it will make you nuts. There's a specific person who recently, okay, this is very, very recent, has rubbed me so the wrong way, and it keeps rubbing me the wrong way, and things that come out of this person's mouth trigger me, right? So I go into this place of why am I being triggered by this? Why am I allowing this energy to affect me in whatever way, whatever that looks like, right? So when I go into this place of why, it does help me shift the energy around it. It helps me because I'm tapping into that very logical side of me that is much more comfortable with how to shift and how to change and where to look for the reason, right? Why is this happening? Powerful question. Why am I allowing this to happen? Ooh, that feels even more powerful, right? It doesn't mean that you'll come to the conclusion, doesn't mean that it won't bug you again, but there's power in knowing that you have control over your reaction to whatever it is that's triggering you. And by you, I mean, the royal you, like all of us, me. If you know what changes a heart, you know what changes the world. Do you guys know Marianne Williamson? Who knows Marianne Williamson? Hold on, let me see if I can see this gallery. By a raise of hands, raise your hands again. Who knows Marianne Williamson? Okay.
There's 3 of us with their hands up, and I want to share that Erin posted something in the comments. It was only when I looked into my deepest judgments of self and accepted them as holy, sacred pieces of me, the less I needed to be right in my beliefs.
Ooh, that's powerful. It's true, right? Um, Sunny Dawn presented, I love that, Erin. Thank you. I'm taking us over to Sunny's presentation, because in her presentation, the very first step of connection, of living your best life, is asking for help here in the real world, asking for God or our angels or whatever your belief system is, asking for help, asking for guidance, asking for space being held for us, asking for whatever. You want money? Ask for money. You have to follow those intuitive hits on what that looks like for you. But you got to ask, right? Anyway, Marianne Williamson is one of the best speakers that I've ever witnessed. I was very, very fortunate to, when I started my personal development journey, to see her on stage multiple times. My mom and I listened to, countless of hours of recordings of Marianne Williamson. And one of the most powerful stories that I've heard her tell was this story around anger and how to release anger, or how to examine it in a way that helps everybody. Okay. So I'm going to paraphrase her story, but it's a powerful one. So listen up. She was in a band. She was the singer of a band, and they were coming up on a big performance. And her band members kept being late to their practices. They kept blowing it off, as I'm sure you can imagine band members do. And, every time they would be later and later, there would be, anyway, point being, they were not getting in the practice that they needed to get in order to perform to the best of their abilities. And each time that they met for practice and people were late, Marianne was saying that she would get more and more angry every single time. So this anger was building. It was starting to snowball out of control. And she was starting to have a real attitude about these people, like, nagging them, being angry with them, calling them names, right? Then all of a sudden she realized that only she could change the energy around how she was feeling around this. And the way to do that, I don't know if you guys know the Course in Miracles, but she's a big proponent of this idea of the Course in Miracles that teaches a philosophy that there are only two emotions, and every reaction stems from those two emotions. There is love and there is fear. That's it. And the other thing, only love is real. Fear isn't real. It's all in our heads. It's all between our ears. So when it came to her anger, she knew, because she had been studying it, that this was a moment of fear in her. So where was this anger coming from? It was coming from the fear of not being the best at the performance, right? So rather than get angry, rather than call names, rather than nag to death, she sat in that place of, guys, I'm afraid that if we don't get this practice in, we're going to suck. Can you please honor that this is the practice time that we have set up and be on time? It would make me feel less fearful about this thing that's coming up, about this big performance of ours. Oh my gosh, how different is that conversation? How different is the energy of that? Doesn't it feel so much better? Even in that place of vulnerability around admitting, I'm afraid. Anyway, I find it extremely powerful. And that story shifted my energy a lot around anytime that I'm getting angry. It has yet to shift my energy around being a nag, but that's okay. Baby steps to change, baby steps to adjusting our personal stories. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about personal balance. How am I doing on time, by the way? Because that's one of the things that I don't like about this is that I can't see the time.
56 minutes to go. You're good.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. About halfway through. Fantastic. Oh my gosh, you guys. If you have any questions at all or any comments, let me know. Okay, so personal balance. The only way to have confidence and to show up in a life that feels good in every moment, no matter what life throws our way, is that radical confidence, that place of, how do I say it? That place of knowing that I am love. Okay, so Kellie walked us through this exercise in her presentation yesterday morning. That just, this is part of the reason why I loved it so much, Kellie, if you're listening, or when you listen rather, it was, and I'm going to repeat it if you don't mind, just because it was that powerful to me. Big dear love, you're going to need to set aside. Okay, so it's put your hands over your heart one at a time, and then shake, right, and then just kind of move back and forth. And the saying that you want to say as you do it is, I am love. And it's almost like you're hugging yourself. So do that with me, guys. I am love. I love that so much. It feels so awesome. If you ever want to feel confident, that's the thing to do. Just even if you do it in your mind's eye, if you like step back from your anger, step back from your fear, in your mind's eye, do I am love. And just give your little soul a hug and remind yourself that you are love. That is the reason you're here. You're here to love, period, end of sentence. It will bring you to a place of radical confidence. And it's so cool. I know all of my speakers know this to be true. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you guys. All right, so just to go over the quotes, what if you woke up today with only the things that you thanked God for yesterday? How does that sit with you guys? The first time I heard that, I was like, oh shit. I would pretty much wake up with nothing because I didn't thank God yesterday. That's powerful, right? You must be willing to give up what you are to become what you want to be. Orrin Woodward. Who knew? That's a powerful statement too. What you are. If we all showed up as what we actually are, we would all be love. We are love. When we're behaving in any other way than a loving way, we're not being us. We're not being true to our highest purpose path. We're not being true to ourselves. We're not being true to the energy around us, the people around us. Whew. This is powerful stuff. All right.
Susie has shared that gratitude is a powerful part of her morning routine, and it changes everything.
It absolutely does. And when, it's interesting that you say that, Susie, thank you for reminding me. I know I get to it at some point in this presentation, or hopefully I get to it. Hopefully I don't talk until the very end and have no time left. But gratitude is definitely the place to shift any kind of negative energy. You want to shift negative energy. You want to reframe the stories that we have in our lives. All of those stories, 4 or 5 slides ago that I have, death, toxic relationships, pretty horrible experiences, near death. And I don't know if you guys have had a near-death experience or felt like you've had a near-death experience, but it's scary. It's one of the scariest things to experience, I think. But every single one of those things can be shifted to a where was the lesson? What can I be grateful for in why that happened to me?
Katja has shared that she's been writing down 3 gratitudes at night in her journal, but she sees the need after your first quote to step up her game so that she wakes up to more coffee, dogs, and hubby. Kellie has shared that gratitude's the key for her throughout her day, and Susie added another comment in regards to she's learned to be grateful for even the bad days. There are lessons and blessings even in the bad days.
I completely agree. It is not an easy thing to do. It is not an easy shift to make. So if you need support in shifting that, reach out to any one of the speakers at this retreat. We are all here to help. We are all here to assist you. And we want you to thrive. We want you to be the best version of yourself that you can be in any given moment. So truly wonderful. Anyway, let's get to the art of kintsugi. Have you guys heard of kintsugi? Kin is gold, sugi is repair. Kintsugi is basically a metaphor for resilience as far as I'm concerned. When we see the beauty of our flaws and we notice all the ways that we are broken and we fill those places with light, or gold in this case, we realize that without those breaks and cracks and challenges and flaws and difficulties and all of the bad stuff is where the light comes into our world. It's where the light can exude from our soul. I think there's a quote, I think I mentioned it at one of the earlier things. Meryl Streep says, "What makes you weird or different, that's your superpower." It gives me goosebumps. Gives me goosebumps to say that. So exciting. What makes you weird or different, that's your superpower. If everybody lived like that, can you imagine the shift in this world? Can you imagine how much better people would show up? How much kinder and more thoughtful and more loving if all of the people on the face of this earth embraced that what makes them weird or different is their superpower. It's my goal. That's my goal in life. Make sure that everybody knows that about themselves. If you can't make time for your wellness, you will have to make time for your illness. I heard this quote in 2001, and I think I was going through some pretty dramatic stuff in 2001. Oh yeah, okay, I'm remembering. Yeah, I was. And boy, did it change the way that I viewed my wellness, right? So I took it really seriously, even just a few years ago when I was dealing with all these traumatic things in Alabama, when we lived in Alabama, all of those health concerns. I think that that's why I was so freaking out about it, was because it was such a heavy experience for me. It was such a scary place to be because I thought of myself as a wellness, like I know all the right things to do. I know what it feels like to be well. And yet I was still ill. And it's like I knew what I needed to do, which was to leave that damn job. But it couldn't happen at the time. It just wasn't the right timing. I needed to go through that in order to come out the other side and be able to tell you guys this story. So there you go. All right, so struggling to add more activity to your life. I love this idea, you guys. And Erin, you brought this up too. Do what you did when you were kids. Do what you wanted to do when you were kids. If you wanted to be a singer, if you wanted to be a rock star, go freaking be a rock star. That's what karaoke's for, my friends. right? If you wanted to get out of the house more often and ride bikes and jump rope and do hula hoop, ride your skateboard, whatever it is that you wanted to do with your time, go freaking do it. It doesn't matter if your body is in the worst shape it can be in. You can start at the beginning. Start as if you're a little kid learning it for the first time ever. And go do it. Give yourself permission to get out of your own damn way and enjoy activity. Physical activity is fun when we finally get out there and do it, or it should be. If you're doing physical activity and it doesn't feel good for you, it's not good for your body. I'm dead serious about that. I'm extremely serious about that. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it, you guys. Do what feels good, but you have to do it. You can't just sit there and think it. Even though in the lab, training says that our minds are capable of making the physical body work in the same way. And if that's where you need to start, maybe that's where you need to start. Start imagining that you're getting up every single morning to take a 15-minute walk around the block or your property or wherever it is that you live. Start to imagine it in your mind's eye. Then when you get comfortable there, then you start to actually put that into practice. You start to take action on that. You start to actually get up and walk around the block. Makes me excited. Health is a state of body. Wellness is a state of being. Okay, I want to read that again because that's really important. Health is a state of body. Wellness is a state of being. Do we all get that? Does that make sense to everybody? I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, so so I know that a lot of you get this, but for that one person who watches this or listens to it or is coming across these kind of concepts for the first time, that's who this is for. Wellness is a state of being. If we can't get quiet in here between our ears, there is no way that our physical body can handle being healthy. We have to get quiet in the mind to be physically fit. And I know that may not make any sense to anybody or some people, but it's true. It's true. Take my advice. If there's nothing else that you take away from this, take that to heart. If you can't get quiet in your head, your physical body is not capable of being fully healthy. So really start to practice that quietness. Kellie walked us through several exercises. I know that Erin walked us through a little meditation as well, couple of meditations. It's really important to learn some form of meditation, whatever that looks like for you. When I first started meditating, you know what I did? I did not sit quietly. I can now, but it took a long time for me to get there. The first thing that I realized was that when I did puzzles, I lost time. All of a sudden, what felt like 5 minutes was 3 hours later. That was my meditation. Okay, I realized that meditation didn't have to look like me sitting and sounding off om. It doesn't have to look that way, you guys, especially in the beginning, especially when you're first learning. When you're first learning, if puzzles or some sort, maybe cleaning, maybe you clean your house from top to bottom, and maybe in that cleaning, all of a sudden 2-3 hours have gone by. That's meditation. So, give yourself credit where credit is due. That counts. But when we get quiet in our head, we can get physically fit in our bodies.
Kellie has shared that meditation is about being in the moment. And Cindy Rose has shared that choir or not, they have their hymn books and practice to sing. So that was kind of cool to read. And then Katja also shared that the Meryl Streep quote was so freeing to her, that her accent, her love for bright colors, things that she thought were weird and made her self-conscious are what people actually love about her.
Oh, that makes me so happy because that's absolutely true, Katja. I love your accent. Girl, oh gosh, our minds, our monkey chatter, our drunk monkeys, I've heard it called. Sark. Have you guys ever heard of Sark? Susan Ariel Rainbow Kennedy. She's awesome. She's awesome. She's the perfect guide for micro stepping your way to brilliance. If you've never heard of her, look her up. It's time to look her up. But yes, Sark is the one who introduced me to that, and I love her for it. Okay, so glad to be sharing that information with you. It's more important to understand the imbalances in your body's basic systems and restore balance, rather than name the disease and match the pill to the ill. Right? Do you guys know Mark Hyman? Dr. Mark? He's pretty cool. He's pretty amazing. Look him up too. He is all about the mindset too, and how, you know, when it comes right down to it, we probably don't need doctors. If we're good in our mind, our body shows up perfectly healthy. But yeah, he's super fun. All right, professional balance. I'm gonna pick up the pace here a little bit. As you can see, I love storytelling, so each of these prompts these stories in my head. For most folks, spend about a third of their lives working, a third of it sleeping, and that leaves only a third of our lives for everything else, for doing chores, for getting stuff done, for, you know, making meals, for, it literally is probably somewhere between 1 to 2 hours a day to spend with our family and friends. That's it. That's all we got. Holy cow. When we break it down like that, how are we spending that I think it's 1 to 3 hours. How are we spending that every single day? Are we watching TV? Because I know that that's a beautiful numbing drug for a lot of people, myself included. When I need to check out, when I need to like not worry about anything in the whole wide world, that is my go-to drug of choice, the TV. It is, it just is. My mom will attest, when I sit in front of a TV, the whole world could collapse around me. And I kid you not, I wouldn't hear it. I would not have any clue that it happened because I am so focused on the TV. And it allows me to quiet the monkey chatter, to get rid of the drunk monkey. So it's a great tool to use, but we have to be careful that we're not addicted to it, right? Because it's like any other drug. Do what brings you joy, and time and financial bliss will follow. Holy cow, that's so true. Have you ever heard, I know you guys have heard, when somebody says, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I'm pointing over there because my husband's sitting over there. That's his life. I aspire to be that way. I aspire to be him. I love my life. Actually, I was sitting there last night saying, like, I love doing this. I love doing this, this beautiful little board. It gives me joy. It brings me joy. So it was so fun to put together. All right, so your joy is your purpose, and your story is what paves the way. Your story. Do you guys know what your story is? All of these are stories, right? Every single last one of them. Quotes and all. These are all stories. It's what we focus on that we bring into our lives. What we focus on is what we bring into our lives. Your joy is your purpose, and your story is what paves the way. I took that from myself when it it just came out of my mouth in one of my presentations, and I was like, ooh, that's powerful. I need to put that on. I need to write that down.
Can you say it again, Jamie, for us?
Yeah. Your joy is your purpose, and your story is what paves the way. It's up there with that sweet laughing young lady. Love it. All right, your life has a purpose. Your story is important. That's another thing. Your story is important. Your dreams count. I'm going to say that again. Your dreams count. Your voice matters, and you were born to make an impact. How do those things feel? When you take that in, how does it feel when you think those thoughts? And replace the word your with my. My life has purpose. My story is important. My dreams count. My voice matters. I was born to make an impact. Can you guys embody that? Can you feel that in your heart and soul? I can feel the feels, you guys. I can feel the feels. It's powerful stuff, right? It's so cool. Makes me giggle because it's powerful. Anything powerful, I go to that place of giggling. Change is inevitable in life. Okay, you guys know Jack Canfield, right? Jack Canfield is freaking awesome. He is the author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And he's a fantastic speaker. If you've not heard him speak, he's wonderful. I am going to have him on one of my retreats. That's just going to happen. So change is inevitable in life. You can either resist it and potentially get run over by it, or you can choose to cooperate with it, adapt to it, and learn how to benefit from it. When you embrace change, you will begin to see it as an opportunity for growth, right? Those things that challenge us are the things that make us wiser. They're the things that make us go deeper. They're the things that make us learn. I mean, part of the human condition is to learn from our mistakes. So when we're making the same mistakes over and over and over, I think there's a quote out there somewhere that says something around when you're making the same mistake over and over, that's freaking psychosis, guys. Let's all learn from our mistakes, shall we? Let's all learn and grow. And last but definitely not least, no doubt about it, this is one of the most important things that there is in life. And that is your spiritual balance. What are your daily practices? So a couple of people have mentioned that they write gratitude, whether it's first thing in the morning or last thing at night. I would even welcome you to do it both times of the day. First thing in the morning, it's fantastic to start your day off with a gratitude thought. And when you write it down, what did Kaspars say? What we hear, we often forget. What we see, we often remember. And what we do, we understand. There it is. What we do, we understand. So when we actually write things down, that's why this practice is so important, of writing it down, not just thinking it, writing it down, because it helps us assimilate it. It helps us put it into practice. It helps us see, feel, hear, sometimes smell the idea of what it is that we're writing down. So if I am grateful for waking up, I mean, God, for some people, that's the best gratitude in the whole wide world, right? I am grateful that I have this roof over my head. I am grateful that I have a bed to sleep in. I am grateful that my body still works beautifully. I mean, some of these things are seriously simple, but not things to discount. These are things to be definitely grateful for. Without them, where would we be, right? So I put hint, your current life and circumstances are the perfect reflection of the things you do every day. So if you're not particularly fond of what you see, if you're struggling with what your life looks like, this spiritual practice is the first place to start. Don't wait for circumstances to change. Start practicing spirituality today. And the best place to start is with gratitude. Intuition is a spiritual faculty that does not explain, but simply points the way. Florence Scovel Shinn. Have you ever heard of Florence Scovel Shinn, you guys? Oh my God, she's brilliant. Back in the early 1900s, she wrote several books. They're very God-based, so they speak of it from a religious and specifically a Christian background. And she dives into the teachings in the Bible and how basically God is saying to us through the Bible, be you, know that God has you here for good, great, amazing things, and your life will be exactly what you want it to be, what you desire it to be. Your life already is what you desire it to be. So it's shifting that mindset if what you see is not what you want, right?
Cindy wrote, sorry.
Yeah.
Cindy wrote that one of the things that she shares is a quote from her happy card, and she believes it might have been Edhard, that said, if the only prayer you say today is thank you, that is enough.
It absolutely is enough. I mean, seriously. Go back to that quote of, what would your life look like today if all you had left was what you thanked God for yesterday? Thank you. That's a big one. Kind of encompasses it all, doesn't it? I love that. Thank you. Good reminder. You are what you believe yourself to be. That Paulo, is it Colho? I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he is he's pretty darn cool too. You guys, I love quotes, and I love all of these people that I've quoted. Check him out. Google him too. Really powerful speaker, really amazing mindset coach. You are what you believe yourself to be. If you can wrap yourselves around that, your whole world will change. And this one, just because it's absolutely fun and so very true. Believe in yourself. The only way to believe in yourself, the only way to believe in yourself is to be you. Be who you truly are. To hell with the people who don't get it. They don't have to. As long as you in your heart see who you are, the more you love you, the less fucks you'll give, right? Samantha Skelly quote that's been said multiple times this retreat. The more you love yourself, the less you'll care what other people think. The more you love yourself. And as I said earlier, accepting help is the ultimate strength. Don't forget to ask for help. If you don't want to ask somebody here on earth, ask your angels, ask God, ask the spiritual realm to support you in whatever it is that you're going through. It works. They're just standing by waiting. That's free will right there. They can't step in until you ask them to step in. There's movies on that subject, you guys. Go watch them. All right, your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. Ah, so true. Doing the best at this moment puts you in the best place for the next moment. Oprah Winfrey. Oh, yeah. The second we embrace change, we become open to the limitless possibilities of life. And I just want to share a quick little story. Another quick little story. Louise Hay is the godmother of affirmations. If you do not know her work, please, it is imperative that you check it out. If you do know her work, you know a little bit about her. That exercise that we did earlier, where we opened our arms and said, I am open and willing to receive all that is good. When I first did that, it was, I think, 1996, I believe, is the first time that I came across that. And I stood there and I was wide open. And the second that those words started coming out of my mouth, I noticed that I shrunk. I shrunk myself. It was very obvious I didn't believe it. I am open and willing to receive all that is good. At the time, I was like, I am open and willing to receive all that is good. I don't know. I don't know if I actually am. Anyway, so I mentioned that because the second we embrace change, we become open to the limitless possibilities of life by Michelle Maros. That reminded me of that story, because it is true. When we are open to change, we are open to the limitless possibilities of life. All right, and I couldn't have a presentation without Wayne Dyer. I was honored and privileged to meet him and talk with him when I first started my own personal journey. My mom, I think, had him as a, was it him or was it? Anyway, I don't know who it was, but I think it was Dr. Phil. Was it, Mom, are you here? Was it Dr. Phil who gave you the advice? Like, I guess they were Dr. Phil or Dr. Wayne Dyer. Anyway, either of them. They're both brilliant men. Gave the advice that, or my parents were struggling in their marriage at the time. They were in marriage counseling, and whoever it was said to them, like, well, why are you still married? Like, sounds like you hate each other. Why would you stay with that? That doesn't make any sense.
It was Wayne Dyer.
It was Wayne Dyer. So he was listening. It was very specifically to my dad, my stepdad. And my stepdad was describing all the things that my mom wasn't to him. And Wayne goes, well, why would you want to stay married to her? She sounds horrible. And I love it because it's so in your face and it's so true. If you really dislike who you're with, good God, leave them. Don't stay with somebody you hate. Or better yet, because they're just a reflection of your inner demons, shift your mindset. Shift your mindset around who they are and how they're showing up. Because guess what? They're just a perfect reflection of who you are. Oh my God, I'm saying so many things. Okay, but this quote by Wayne Dyer says, being relaxed, at peace with yourself, confident, emotionally and neutrally loose, and free floating. These are the keys to successful performance in almost anything. Almost everything. I'm, twisting the words to be my own, of course. Thank you very much, Mr. Dyer. But anyway, he's a pretty profound guy. If you don't know his teachings, I definitely welcome you to look them up. Summarizing this relationship resilience presentation, emotionally remain neutral. Look for that place of peace around the subject. Agree to disagree if there's a way to do that. Personally, have radical confidence. Being you is the only you can be. So why not be fully you? Why not have that radical confidence? Honestly, it's what people are attracted to. They're either attracted to the wound in you or they're attracted to the confidence in you. Ooh, that's a powerful statement. Physically, make healthy lifestyle choices. Obviously. I mean, it seems obvious, but then we go pick up the bag of chips. Go eat the donut. Now, those things are fine once in a while. I'm not, dissing the chips or donuts. But we can't have those as our only meals every day, or we literally are doing our body a disservice. That's not what our body needs, and we know it. We know better. Professionally, gain wealth. Wealth is not just money, you guys. Wealth is all of these things. Wealth is balance. Wealth is showing up. Wealth is recognizing when you have time to spend with your loved ones. And when we're in that state of mind, when we're in that healthy, balanced, joyful state of mind, money finds us. Money loves joy. It just does. Spiritually, embody that inner wisdom. Really, truly embody who you are, why you're here, what you're about, and tell everyone your story. And I don't mean your sob story. I mean your success story. Start telling your success story more. How fun does that sound? All right. So here's where, and the number one takeaway is gratitude. That I'm grateful for the 20 plus years with my hubby. I'm grateful for life every single day. I'm grateful for the health I have, even if it's not where I want it to be. Right? In this pandemic world. I'm grateful for my rainbow of emotions. I'm embracing that right now. I'm grateful for today. I'm grateful for my waterproof mascara. I'm grateful for all the experiences I've had. I truly am. I would not be the person that I am today. I would not be able to relate to people who have gone through what I've gone through if I hadn't gone through it. And I'm grateful for all the people in my life. Thank you guys so much for being here today. It is not happy people who are thankful. It is thankful people who are happy. Yay! Awesome. All right, I have no idea what time it is. Did I do okay on times?
It is 12, you have 15 minutes basically.
Okay.
Eastern time zone, so.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
I can definitely, here, let me stop sharing this screen. Awesome. Cool. Okay, so when it comes to relationship resilience, what is one takeaway that you can take into your life and start implementing? Anybody? Unmute yourselves. Feel free to jump in, raise your hand, and Cheryl will take the ball and run with it.
Go ahead, Cindy Rose, my honey. Go ahead.
The takeaway for me in my particular situation is I created health in my body. I had wellness of my being, but it got lost for a while. So my takeaway is that light's still in there. We're still in there. Don't give up. Don't give up. Just keep believing in yourself. Keep feeding yourself love. Keep feeding it. It's easy to do for others and forgive and love and cherish and all. What about this? What about where it's coming from? Is it really clear? Is it experiencing what it's offering? What it's sharing out, like it's very important. Your mental health, man, it can freak you bad. Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much. That
Just
exercise,
keep going. Just keep getting up.
Yeah, honestly. And you know what? Sometimes it's okay to stay down. Sometimes it's okay to go to that place of allowing yourself to feel the feels. We have to feel them and embrace them before they'll ever go away. And you know, not that they ever even really go away. They're all right there. They're, you know, my daughter, when we moved to Alabama, she saw this movie and she made us, and we went to this movie like 3 or 4 times in the theater. We did not wait for it to come out on DVD or whatever it was at the time. She had us go to the theater and watch that movie Inside Out. It's an animated film by Disney, and it's all about the emotions that run our lives. Okay. It's really, really, really sweet and very cute. Do you have more to say, Cindy Rose?
I saw it, I think. It's with the little characters and a real sad, mopey one. And I love that, yeah.
Yeah. It's such a cute movie. But she was obviously going through some of that, like, I'm in a new place. I don't know any of these people. I don't know who I can trust. I don't know. I'm so afraid right now. And so it goes back to those 2 emotions, the love or the fear, right? If you're feeling anxious, it's fear-based. So where can we see the love in it? Where can we see the joy in it? What can we shift ourselves? And maybe it's just that we allow ourselves permission to feel the anxiety. Go ahead and feel it. Go ahead and let it just swarm all over your body. There's a line in one of my favorite movies, and my mom is probably repeating it to herself in her head right now. It's a movie that we've watched, I think more than 50 times, called, and it was not critically acclaimed, so don't judge me here, French Kiss. And in the movie French Kiss, the female lead is Meg Ryan, and she says to her ex-boyfriend, like, don't feel bad, because when you feel bad, I'll feel bad. And then she goes, no, you know what? Never mind. Feel bad. Go ahead. Swim around in it. Get all pruny. Like, that was the old me. This is the new me. And I love it because it's true. We don't give ourselves permission to just feel it and really get deep down and dirty with the feelings, because it's only when we get deep down and dirty with them that we can let them go. Otherwise, they haunt us. They keep coming back over and over and over and over and over. I think that's why I like emotional freedom techniques so much, is because I physically feel the weight of some of those things lift off of me when I do the emotional freedom technique tapping. It's very powerful for me. So that's why I love, you love that movie, Katja? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. Because I know, you know, the French accent was not exactly ideal, and that's okay. That's okay. We love Kevin Kline anyway. He did a great job in that role.
I don't think we give ourselves enough credit either. When I think of the word resilience, we're still here, which shows we have an ounce of, we've been resilient. And, you know, and even though that's a big word, I'm going to share a little bit more about my world in a few minutes, but literally how many times have I heard, I can't do this? Well, guess what? That minute just passed and you did it. And now we're in a new moment. So let's do this moment. And so interestingly enough, I don't think we give ourselves enough kudos for how resilient we truly are.
Absolutely. 100% true. Thank you for bringing that up, because that if we all knew what each of us have gone through, which is part of the reason why I even share these stories, because people might see the bubbly, happy, you know, like, I know exactly how to handle every situation version of Jamie that shows up on the face of this earth. And they may not understand that there's a reason why I know what works for me. There's a reason why I have these set of skills that I can call upon. And I'm extremely grateful for them. But guess what? I wouldn't have them if I hadn't had gone through the things that I've gone through in my life. I wouldn't have the set of skills. I wouldn't have the strength to get through some of the crazy ass shit that comes my way.
Catch, I saw you wave at us, my friend.
just wanted to say thank you, Jamie, because this whole thing, every time the word joy pops up, I'm like, that's me, it's me. So last fall, with some guidance from a mentor that I connected with, I discovered my divine intent on purpose, which is joy through choices. So for me, every time, and what I've been, you know, and it sounded so big to me. I'm like, oh. But listening to all the speakers and to everybody who brings in, you know, when you do something that brings you joy, that makes you giggle, that's attracting people. And over the last few days, I've been really inspired to just stepping out more and showing up differently. And I think some of you know what I'm talking about. So just because it's fun, and it's amazing already the connections that are coming into my life through it. They're just showing up, like you said.
That's fantastic. So great to hear, Katja. Love it. Absolutely love it. Very important awareness. Joy, you know, and that's not to say that, you know, you can't be any other emotion than joy. But when we seek joy, joy seeks us too. When we seek discord or anger, anger seeks us too. It's, you know, the world is a perfect reflection. That's why I say that. The world is a perfect reflection of how we're being, right? How we're showing up, what we're, you know, that vibrational energy we're putting out into the world is what gets reflected back to us. So if we don't like what's being reflected back to us, you know, changing what's out there isn't going to help much. It can. Changing your situation, maybe removing yourself from an unhealthy environment, et cetera, those kind of things can obviously make a big impact, but that's not what's going to actually change the way that you're being, the way that you're showing up, the way that what you're attracting into your life. What you're attracting into your life is because of this, right? So I love that you pointed out that you were shifting to being more in joy.
Thank you.
How is your joy showing up in joy? Or something like that. I can't remember what I said, but that was a really fun one. I absolutely loved it. It's super fun. Anybody else have an awareness that they would like to share?
Jamie, when I think of resilience and sharing our story, right? Sharing our story has nothing to do with us. Sharing our story gives other people hope that they can do it too. So I think that sometimes we get caught in not sharing our story because we're worried about what people are going to think about us. But when you share your story, it gives somebody else permission to go, wow, maybe I don't have it so bad, or wow, you know what I mean? Maybe I can do it too. I have a really, really dear friend that shares her story all over Facebook about her cancer battles, right? And now she's missing a limb as a result, right? So now and this is like her third time beating it, and she wears shirts that say just got hacked, Shark Tank tester, right? Like, so she's missing an arm, okay, but she brings joy in that. And I just think to myself, right, like, she's sharing that, so maybe somebody else that's looking at the possibility of losing a limb, or I don't know, right, they can find some joy in it. And so I think that's where sharing your story is so powerful, and you have to take you out of your story because it's about giving somebody else hope and courage.
Yes, so exciting. Thank you for saying that, because that is the goal. That is ultimately the goal of sharing your story. It is not to get sadness. It is not to get, you know, support in the drama or the trauma or the, you know, I've been through the, you know, there's nothing that rubs me more the wrong way than somebody who's in their victim syndrome. And I love them. I send them all kinds of positive energy and efforts, and, you know, that they can push through that. Because when we're in this, you know, woe is me, I went through this is horrible, I get it. We all have been through something. But because when we're in the victim syndrome, we're only thinking about ourselves. We're not seeing how our story can benefit others, how what we've been through can help heal, how, and this is, you know, I said to Cheryl when she decided to tell her story, I said, or rather, not even when she decided to tell her story, when the speaker who was supposed to be speaking during this time, right before Cheryl, I was like, I know exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to tell my resilience story because it's so important as a setup to go into this place of challenge and drama and trauma. With Cheryl's going to be telling her detainment story. And it's not a pretty one, you guys. It's not a pretty story. So I feel like this was the absolute perfect setup to come into that so that we can remember that this is just a story. And when we use this story as a stepping stone to bridge the gap between struggle and thrive, it creates this incredible experience for everybody, and it gives everybody to cross over that bridge to come to the thriving side. It's a great reminder.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Anybody else? Just like,
I thought it was muted.
what did you say?
I thought I was muted and I've been mumbling away here. Okay, it's not. My greatest fear is that standing up there and, you know, it's, and this and this and this and this and then, it's not about that. No, that's another takeaway. Yeah, it's not about that. It's about that up there.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. This right here is just a conduit. It's just a conduit to what the world looks like, right? We are the instrument that creates the vibrational match for how things show up in our lives. A concept that I'm still embracing fully. I mean, you know, I want that yacht, damn it. I want that yacht. It's not about having the yacht. It's about being the vibrational match to what that yacht represents for me. Does that make sense? So it's not about having the, you know, millions and millions of dollars that a yacht, you know, I want you to have that yacht. Thank you. I like that. That's why I keep telling everybody. I want to have the yacht. Again, it's not about the yacht. It's about what the yacht represents vibrationally. It represents this, it represents a certain level of achievement. It represents a place and a way to gather friends and loved ones together to feel happy and cared for and pampered and so many other things that I can't even articulate right now. But it's not about the yacht. It's about the friends and family who can join me on the yacht, right? So exciting. So exciting. Cannot wait to have it. So anyway, all right. So I think we're at a stopping point. Does everybody feel comfortable with the close? Anybody else want to say anything? We're good? All right. Sweet. Well, thank you again very much to all of you for being here. I hope that you found value in the relationship resilience presentation. And I hope that it sets you up for experiencing the next talk, which is going to be fantastic. It's going to be absolutely amazing. You know, when we survive struggles and challenges, it makes us better people. It makes us more relatable. It makes us stronger, and it makes us get closer to that place of love within ourselves. even if it doesn't feel like it. Even if it doesn't feel like it, not at first, but when we see it for the lesson that it is, holy cow, is it powerful. So exciting. Okay, so at 10:15, we will come back here for Cheryl Clark's presentation on creating community residence around her detainment story. And we'll talk all about that. We'll get into that. So, and then at 1 o'clock, we are going to have a wonderful, all of my speakers are going to come back. We're going to maybe have a little bit of a mastermind. Definitely think of some questions that you have to ask any of our speakers this retreat. Let me just remind you really quick of who those speakers are. We have Kaspars, Avots, Sunny Dawn Johnston, Erin Christine, Kellie Haehnel, I'm going to put it in front of me here, Jean Bishop, me, Jamie Allen Bishop, and Cheryl Clark. So we have quite a dynamic team of speakers coming to you at 1 p.m. today to have a little bit of a panel discussion. There should be some fantastic philosophy and masterminding going on in that conversation. I cannot wait. So I hope that you guys can join us for that. We may even pull a tarot card or two just to see how that energy is showing up for us, just for fun. And right now we're going to take a little bit of a break, about 15-minute break. At 10:15, we'll come back and we will hear Cheryl Clark's detainment story. Thank you for being here. See you in 15 minutes.